Yeah. My presentation is entitled Survivor Nature's Chain Reaction Cause and Effect, Relationships and Natural Disasters. This is a fifth grade ELR unit plan designed to help students understand how events in nature create chains of cause and effect relationships. The unit was created for Education 5345 and my instructor is Dr. Heather Caldwell. The overall areas behind this unit is that natural disasters are perfect examples of cause and effect. One event happens, then another, and suddenly you have an entire chain reaction. It's kind of like dominoes, except instead of them all falling over, it's hurricane, earthquake, and wildfires. Slide 2 introduces the unit overview, which is the instructional unit which introduces fifth grade students to cause and effect relationships in informational and narrative text using the theme of natural disasters and survival. Students explore how events create chains of reactions through reading, discussion, interactive storytelling, and multimedia presentations. Technology plays a role in helping students stay engaged. Tools like Padlet, NewsWeb, Flip, and Canvas allow students for collaboratives and shows what they've learned in creative ways. This unit eventually will lead to disaster information assessment at the end, where students discriminate how they understanding by identifying causes and effects in real life for events. Basically, students start the week figuring out what is the cause of the event, and by the end of the week, they explain the entire disaster chain like many meteorologists. Slide 2 also introduces Monday's lesson commentary. It starts with the spark, understanding cause and effect. The lesson begins with a hook where students are asked, have you flipped over dominoes and watched them? And then they will move on to even go on YouTube and watch Rubik's Goldberg machine video, which would illustrate a complicated chain reaction where one tiny action leads to another. And then the teacher will go over the cause. Why did something happen? Also, we're moving on to slide 3, which Slide 3 continues with Monday's lesson, and it will also go on to tell about the heavy rains, the cause and effect, the river flooding, more cause and effects of variations of models of natural disasters examples. Then students will be introduced at this point to signal words that they can identify cause and effect relationships in text such as a because, therefore, as a result, using these main three words. Then they will move along and they can get contribute examples off of Padlet. Those would be like a cause, a volcano erupts, effect, ash spreads around the sky. Students can also move on to possible effects to classmate posts, which I will encourage discussion and open thinking. So by the end of Monday's lesson, all students are basically becoming detectives with cause and effect clues. Then we move on to slide 4, which will start the Tuesday lesson. So Tuesday's lesson is mostly we're reading the storm. We're analyzing cause and effect in text, and students will read an informational articles about the 1900 Galveston hurricane, which was one of the deadliest disasters in U.S. history. I will point out questions, random questions like, have you wondered how hurricanes form and why they cause so much damage? Students can give me an analysis of the article from chain events, math graph organizers, for examples. But then they can speed it up by giving me another cause and effect, like why did the strong winds form over warm ocean water and the effect a hurricane developed. Then at the end of Tuesday's lesson, students should be quickly to promptly give and identify one primary cause and three resulting effects while reading the text. This activity will help the students practice using text evidence and recognizing informational text structure. Then we will move forward to Wednesday's lesson commentary, which is that Wednesday's lesson is basically we're moved on now, we're surviving. They're choosing their choices, their interactive cause and effect. And this lesson will focus around them actually making an interactive survival story, which is based to choosing your own adventure style activity. Students are prompt and ask, have you ever played a game where your choices change the ending? And then the students will probably, most likely, my teenagers and my 10-year-old will say video games, of course. Then, as a teacher, I would show some decisions like that would create different outcomes, like what ifs. That's what I'm aiming at. And then I want them to mirror me with a cause and effect relationship in the story that they read. More so, I want them to give me examples of, like, if I stayed in a shelter during a storm, what would be the effect of me staying there? Am I remaining safe? That is an effect. I'm pulling for them to give me choices. So another one would be like, go outside during a storm. Is that wise? The effect, you could be hurt, dangerous winds, even more fatality. So I just want the students just to track their decision, come along with the cause and effect law that's on other few flyers that you will see coming through, and then they would do like a checkpoint break. So this point of week, students are just more so opening and learning that even their choices can start a chain reaction. Then we will go on to talk about Thursday's lesson, which is more so, like I stated, we started in week 3, but we didn't prolong it. We just gave an exempt of it. Now we're actually wondering what if newsroom. We're explaining the cause and effect. The lesson begins with discussion questions, and I want them to watch little news outlets and, just peek around and just figure out what's a big storm, what's a disaster, what information did the reporter get, what do they use to explain, what do they speak on mainly if this event happens. Then the students at this time should be quickly alert to realize what the reporter is explaining, what is the cause, the disaster, what happened afterwards. I'm looking more so of a brief clip in their words about the natural disaster or the hurricane damage, the wildfire coverage, and then I want them to continue on with just giving me more causes of it and ending somewhat more of the explaining me, like did the actual audience that the reporter was trying to claim, did they actually understand that event? I just give me some more cause and effect relationships. And then we move forward to the next slide, which is still just telling me I need more commentary. Give me more of what you've learned previously and divert that into pairing me with a mystery disaster scenario card, such as a flash flood, wildlife, blizzard, tornado, volcanic eruption. I mean, this is your point now to tell me a news flash script that you reported on. It can be short. I mean, I only want just one main cause, three effects of the disaster, and then even to make it more realization, let's get up there and make your video. Let the students get in there, record, go on flip, and record just a little 45 to 60-second video, and we can elaborate from there. And then, after we did all this week, this is Friday. I need to hear your assessments. I mean, we have planned this, we have done everything, and this is your disaster infographic. I need to know, like, basically, what are you telling me? What did you learn? Explain to me what's one natural disaster. What is the give me just break it down into an infographic chart. What is the title? The primary two primary cause. Give me three secondary effects. The images, icons, cause and effect, anything. Just direct me into something that's letting me know that you did this. Students can get on Canvas, and I'm only looking for like 80% of it. Cause especially that's when we move forward in the field. We were talking about my rubric that I implement, but I just wanted them, instead of just answering the questions, I want them to visually explain to me how these disasters is used. Okay, and then we're going to just chop it on up, and then we're going to just look at the handouts that I have been implementing and giving them. And this one is like the newsflash handout. This is the one that they were doing during the newsroom activity, and it started with like give me a catalyst, a cause, which action, and I in return what event started a disaster, and the students just describe three facts. That's all basically I'm asking for. And then at the end, they're gonna give me a closing line like reporting live. This is the little video that I implemented, only 45 to 50 seconds, where they're just gonna give me a bam, a highlighter. I'm here, storm hit, lightning call, house is on fire, cause the lightning struck, something to that effect. Then we just going to move on to my next one. This is the Chinese events map. This is the graphic organizer that's describing the event cause and three more effects. Like I previously, like I need three. I mean, one, can get away with. Just give me three. And then I also include a newsflash script, one that I mentioned about the other one, when they're out there scooping and being a reporter and all this stuff. And this is the same thing. But at this advantage, you're going to talk about a disaster catalyst, and then the cause and three effects. So there's a different that they're going to mimic on this one. Then we're going to end it all with I'm going to, like the final slide is just my infographic rubric, which is like worth 100 points. I'm just looking to see did the students explain clearly what we have rehearsed the whole week, and I'm looking for them to identify two clear causes, explaining three accurate effects, showing me clear cause and effect connection, having an organized visual layout, and using strong supporting details. There's also examples about wildfires and causes, like we mentioned about the lightning strike. So we can they're simple. We know dry weather, summertime, any vegetation and all that causes this. So we're looking if we're laughing on that, we want to know that the fire goes spread because it's dry. Wildlife is losing habitat. So all the animals that are in the area, they gotta relocate. Smoke affecting air quality. Here we go. Not just pollen being a cause and effect. So this rubric ensures students clearly demonstrate their understanding of how the events in nature creates chains of cause and effect.
Hello, my name is Otto Gomez, and this is my week plan for the fifth grade unit plan. This is for course Education 5354 or 5345 with the instructor is Dr. Caldwell. So we start off with Monday's lesson plan. The title is going to be Identifying Theme in Fiction. All these lesson plans are, of course, for the fifth grade and following my partner's instructions. The objective for this lesson is to have their students identify what is the actual theme of a fictional text and support it with two pieces of textual evidence. So the hook that we're going to give is showing pictures of characters helping someone and asking a student, what can we learn from this? Um, we are going to be providing modifications for ESL students in this class. So the modification would be in this point to kind of help and drag out the answer from the student and saying this teaches us that and wait for that student to respond, and also allowing them if they need working partners before sharing with the whole class. So the direct instruction would be to explain what a theme is and the lesson of the message that the author wants to read and learn uh, from themes with visuals such as friendship, honesty, perseverance. With ESL modifications is to pre-teach the vocabulary using the pictures of real world examples and post an anchor chart with visuals and a bilingual glossary so they can be able to relate to what they're seeing. All right. They're going to read a short fictional passage aloud, and I model the identifying the theme using think aloud. Again, the ESL modification would be to have them read it twice and to highlight sentences and paragraphs using simpler language to kind of break things down so they can understand it there's anything complex. The guided practice will be the students will work in pairs to identify what the theme using a digital graphic organizer. For ESL students, we're going to pair them with supportive peers, provide maybe sentence frames for evidence, and even, if necessary, give them a drag and drop option or a pair option for the groups. For them, if they're only working in ESL groups, their independent practice is going to be to write one paragraph to identify the theme with evidence. ESL, we're going to allow them to give an oral explanation before writing it and to reduce the writing length if necessary. And at the end, for the closure, we're going to have the students state one theme that they identify using a sentence stem. The assessment is going to be the students explain the theme orally or in writing with the oral check for understanding. Now, the handout that goes with this is going to be bilingual with instructions in English and Spanish. All these handouts are going to be bilingual so that ESL students can understand what's being said. So the learning goal is that they can identify the theme of a story and support it with evidence. We're going to go over the key vocabulary words, make sure they understand what a theme is, what they should be thinking to themselves when they're asking these questions. We're going to go over sentence stems, and then their task is going to be to read the story, write the theme, and write 2 sentences from the story that support the theme. That leads us to Tuesday's. Tuesday's lesson is going to be the artist's purpose using PIE or PIE. The objective is to have the students identify whether a text was written to persuade, inform, or entertain. There's that PIE. And justify their answer. We're going to show examples of an ad, a story, and a fact page. Students will use interactive polling like Poll Monkey to give their answers, and we'll see just what they think it is, if it was persuade, inform, or entertain. And then for ESL modification, we're going to label those visuals and icons for what they are. We're going to go ahead and explain PIE with examples using short multimedia ads and articles and an anchor chart. For ESL modifications, we're going to use gestures and repetition just so they can kind of get a grasp using body language and provide bilingual keywords if they need it. For modeling, we're going to identify the author's purpose using clues. The guided practice is going to be they're going to classify short text into PIE categories. For ESL, we're going to put them in little cooperative groups, and we're going to start them off with those sentence stems as this text is written to blank because blank to kind of guide them through the getting the right answer. In the independent practice, students complete a purpose chart. With ESL modifications, we're going to be asking fewer questions. The closure students are going to explain one example using the sentence stems. And then the final assessment will be to complete a quick digital quiz, and that way they can receive immediate feedback to make sure they understand the content. Again, the handout in bilingual, it's going to give the instructions in both English and Spanish to make sure they understand what PIE stands for and what each one of those things does, what clues they need to look for, and what those clues give us as far as information. Go through sentence stems, and then they're going to give the assignment of write the author's purpose and explain why of a short story that's handed to them. We then go into Wednesday's lesson, writing a personal narrative. Now, for this one, they're going to write a personal narrative with a clear beginning, middle, and end. I'll explain to the students. Maybe it doesn't have to be factual. Maybe it could be a little bit fictional, just to make sure that they don't feel pressured and they can have that freedom of creativity as long as they give that personal narrative with a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. All right. The hook's going to be they share a favorite memory orally. For ESL, we're going to allow them maybe to brainstorm in their native language and maybe provide visual prompts for them to tell their stories. We're going to explain the narrative elements with examples. And then we're going to start with writing a short narrative paragraph using a digital writing or demonstrated visual planning techniques. For ESL, they're going to be highlighting transitions and provide sentence starters. Guided practice is going to be to plan a class narrative together. The independent practice is to be the students will write their own narrative on a digital platform with the ESL modification of maybe using speech-to-text support or shortening the writing expectation. Now, at the end, the students will share one sentence aloud, and the assumption will be for them to submit a digital portfolio with an option to include images. Handout, bilingual again. We're going to go over the parts in the narrative to make sure they understand the parts of the story. We're going to go over the planning organizer, the sentence starters again, and then at the end, their task is going to be to write one paragraph about a real experience. And again, real is going to be more so believable. It doesn't have to be real. You can put some fiction into it. That'll keep them from having that pressure of having to maintain factual integrity rather than actually understand the concept of the instruction. That leads us to Thursday. Thursday is going to be context clues for vocabularies, where the students are going to be determining the meaning of an unknown word using context clues. So in this theory, we're going to choose a sentence with a nonsense word. For ESL, we're going to use visual gestures, and then we're going to ask them if they know, given the sentence and the words that are given, can they understand what that word means? For direct instruction, you're going to teach types of context clues using animated slides to enhance the visual focus of the clues. So the animated slides are going to give them clues and help them guide their answers to determine what is being taught. Modeling is going to be finding clues in a sentence. They're going to practice together with those sentence strips. And for independent, they're going to doing online match, little drag and drop activity where they match the word to the meaning to see if they can understand the clues as to what that word means. For ESL modifications, we're going to probably have fewer items and word bands provided so they can actually choose from a predetermined list. Now, students will explain word meanings orally at the end, and the assessment is going to be the handout that follows will be used to evaluate. The handout again is going to go over the learning goal, the types of context clues, give some examples, so sentence stems again, and at the end they're going to go ahead and their assignment is going to be to underline the clues and write the word meaning. That leads us over to Friday. Yay! The title is Summarizing Informational Text. The students are going to be writing a concise summary, including the main ideas of what they read. The anticipatory hook is going to be the students are going to summarize a short video orally. Show them the video and say, hey, give me an oral summation of what this video is about, kind of getting into the idea of summation. Speaking of summation, we're going to go ahead and cover the difference between summarizing and retelling. The modeling, summarizing a paragraph. The guided practice would be to identify main ideas together on a digital summary organizer. The independent practice, the students are going to write a short story with the ESL modification here of using sentence frames or an option for them to do it orally. At the end, the students are going to share one summary sentence and then be assessed by writing an oral summary to assess the content understanding. The handout is going to go over the main learning goals, understand what a summary is. We're going to go through the summary frame of understanding what is the main topic, the main ideas, and then sentence frames. At the end, their final task is going to be to write a 3 to 4 sentence summary of an article that's given. And that will conclude the week for this lesson.